What's going on, guys? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and I'm back with something I haven't done in a while. It feels like it's been a little bit, and I'm trying to get better about making more of these D&D content videos, but the aftermath of PAX is pretty crazy. But I have an Unearthed Arcana review for you guys today. I realize I'm about a week late, probably by the time you're seeing it. Hey, but better late than never. So what am I talking about today? This one, here we go. The Order Domain Cleric. So this is a little bit interesting. If you guys are unaware, and I probably should do a whole video series on the Mike Merle's Happy Fun Hour, which is a video series where Mike Merle's goes through and he's building different subclasses for, I think this is what started off as part of the Extra Life, where he said he would make 4 specific subclasses that would be available to certain people who paid an exorbitant amount of money, I think $1,500 or possibly more, to get access to certain classes for them specifically for Adventurers League play. So an early draft of it appeared on the Twitch show Mike Merle's Happy Fun Hour. We've refined that version. It's available here. Later this month, the survey, blah, blah, blah. So again, this is unofficial. So a new Cleric Domain. Again, I love clerics. No doubt about that. My only issue is we have a lot of Cleric Domains. There are some classes that are severely lacking in their options, like, say, Druids, for instance, right? We have 5 total Druid, or 4 Druids. Moon, Land, Dreams, and Shepherd, and that's it. We don't really have a whole lot of circles, Druid circles out of this. That's 4 subclasses in a game that's been out coming up on 3 years, where we have fighters more than we can shake a stick at. We've been getting new wizards, and they had the most classes right out of the gate. So I don't know if we needed a new cleric, but that being said, I think it's pretty cool. So let's talk about it, and we'll talk about balance and things as we go through it. So it represents, this is the Order Domain, represents discipline, blah, 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 law, civil, religious, or both. And it says, he gives you a couple options here: Bane, Tyr, Ouijas, Anubis, Asmodeus. We got people all over Athena, so we got it from all different pantheons. They're typically concerned with how things are done rather than whether or not an action, or rather than whether an action's results are just. So there isn't really like a justice or an order type domain. There's the war domain, which I guess you could argue is similar in a way. But let's see what you get. So we're going to get our domain spells: Command, Heroism, Enhance Ability, Hold Person, Mass Healing Word, Slow, Compulsion, Locate Creature, Commune, and Dominate Person. So a handful of these are available to clerics generally. I think almost all of these are, with the exception of, I think, Compulsion, Slow, and possibly Dominate Person. So I guess one way you can look at it is you are getting a lot of these, so you don't have to prepare them, although I'm not sure a lot of these you would prepare on the regular. Command, you would probably prepare. Hold Person, Commune, Mass Healing Word, potential options that most clerics will prepare on the daily, so it saves you having to prepare those spells. I don't know, bonus proficiencies at level 1, you do get proficiency in heavy armor, so that is a nice thing to have. And again, this makes it available if you try to take a 1-level dip into this for one reason or another, you can get heavy armor. You also get Voice of Authority. Immediately after you cast a spell on an ally using a spell slot of 1st level or higher, that ally can use their reaction to make 1 weapon attack against a target of your choice that you can see. If the spell targets more than 1 ally, you choose the ally who can make the attack. So, first of all, let's talk about this ability. Voice of Authority is only limited to your spell slots. So I'm not going to say that it's an unlimited ability, but it is relatively broad use, because you're going to have a lot of spells as you start to level up, and that's the only limiting factor. So anytime you heal an ally, anytime you buff an ally, things of that nature. I'm going to cast Death Ward on this ally. That does that. I'm going to cast Bless on all of my allies. I'm going to cast Healing Word to bring them back from unconsciousness, and then you can still have that ally use its reaction to attack, even though it may be prone, but you get that point. So this is pretty powerful depending on how... I mean, a lot of these abilities for most classes are dependent on your party makeup. But if you have something like, say, a Paladin or a Rogue, and I'm going to use those examples specifically because this lets you break the normal action economy. The primary one I'm going to say is going to get the most use out of this would be if you do have a rogue in your party, because it lets you make a weapon attack. It does not specify melee weapon. It can be a ranged weapon attack. And it's against a target that you can see. So as long as you can both see them, they can make the attack. The reason why I say rogues will make better use of this is because a rogue's sneak attack is only limited to once per turn. So they go on their turn and use their sneak attack. If it is any time after the fact, they can use sneak attack again. Typically, you can only ever sneak attack twice a turn. Once on your initial turn, and then potentially from a reaction, whether that be an opportunity attack or otherwise. This is a way that you can get your rogue to get a second sneak attack in a turn. And especially because it's weapon attack, if someone, like on my turn, I'm going to cast Healing Word on my rogue, give him a little health. Then I get, there's an enemy that's engaged with me. Then my rogue ally could use sneak attack with potentially a ranged weapon or finesse weapon. I'm engaged with an enemy, so I can still use my action to attack, melee, or cast a cantrip. And then they can also get their shot because now I'm engaged with this enemy, or someone else is engaged with this enemy, and it gets them sneak attack. So that's a very powerful ability. I'm a fan of it, and the reason I suggested Paladin is, again, smites. Anybody that can stack damage on a singular hit, or one extra hit that could potentially sway the combat one way or another. I'm not saying that other classes or somebody with a nice weapon like a Flame Tongue or some other powerful added damage weapon won't make use of this, but a rogue is one that does that specifically, and their ability is not limited to a limited resource. It's just dependent on the situation. Okay. Second level, Orders Demand. This is your channel divinity ability. As an action, present your holy symbol, and each creature of your choice that you can see or hear within 30 feet of you must succeed on a wisdom saving throw, or be charmed by you until the end of your next turn, or until the charmed creature takes any damage. You can also cause any of the charmed creatures to fall prone when they fail the saving throw. Okay, so again, one of my favorite things, as we talked about before, is when class abilities synergize with themselves. So let's take a look at that. So one, this is a mass charm. It's a 30-foot charm. It's only people of your choice. It's a wisdom saving throw, so it is basically the same as most charms. And they would get the charmed condition. So this is potentially a way, if you enter into a large scenario or things may be escalating or getting to the point of hostility, that you could use this ability to quell the combat for a time being, or to basically, oh, hey, we're fighting. Nope, now you're charmed by me. We basically have a turn to get ourselves in order before they're uncharmed and probably realize that I was charmed, and then go from there. There are also other classes, and I can't remember which ones they are off the top of my head, but there are certain subclasses, I want to say it's a bard subclass, but I could be wrong, that take benefit when a creature is charmed. Now, this may be just for when the creature is charmed by you. That might be what the wording is, so that doesn't affect you. But this could potentially lead to interesting multi-class options. But probably the biggest ability is anybody who fails that saving throw, and again, any creature of your choice. It's not limited in number. So if you're surrounded by kobolds, let's say, like a whole bunch of them within 30 feet, and they all fail their wisdom saving throw, you can make them all drop prone. Now, that has a ton of awesome implications. Because, again, Channel Divinity is an action, and it is not a spell. So you can still cast your Channel Divinity, or use your Channel Divinity, and still cast a spell. So let's say you use this ability, and you choose all of those enemies to fall prone. Okay, they're now all prone. You then use your bonus action to cast a bonus action spell on an ally. We'll use Healing Word again as an example. Now that ally, per your Voice of Authority ability, can choose. You can force them to use their reaction, if they so choose, to make a weapon attack against an enemy that they can see. If they are a melee fighter, you have now just given them advantage on their reaction-based attack. So again, this is the option where your Paladin could knock somebody prone as a wisdom saving throw. You do that, you heal them up a little bit, and then they get a bonus action strike with advantage. Potential option to use a smite and deal extra damage. Again, still usable by a rogue, although if you're trying to use this as range, that gives them disadvantage. What's another option? I'm going to have this happen, and then I'm going to have my wizard, my sorcerer, my AoE caster that uses dexterity-based saving throws to hit this whole group of people because they're prone. That gives them disadvantage on dexterity saving throws. So there's a lot of cool ways you can use this. And again, that whole order, commanding presence, demand, all of that, voice of authority. This whole, I'm a battlefield leader, bringing law and order to the combat. You can play that up roleplay-wise, but mechanically you can also do that as well, just based on how some of these abilities work out. Level 6. This is the first time we've seen sort of an ability like this, aside from a couple of wizards. Order's Dominion. When you cast a spell of the Enchantment School, using a spell of second level or higher, you regain 1 expended spell slot. The slot you regain must be of a level lower than the spell you can cast and cannot be higher than 5th level. So at first, this sounds awesome, right? Anything that lets you get spell slots back. And again, this isn't limited. It's only limited in that it spells 1 spell slot level than the spell you cast, and then you get it back, and it can't be higher than 5th level. It doesn't state, but I'm going to assume that you can't... Oh, it's an expended spell slot, so you can't gain... Yeah, you can't gain above the normal amount of spell slots that you would normally be able to get. And I'm going to try to look it up because I pulled this... I had said this when I had a conversation with someone, that it's not as powerful as a lot of people think it is because it only lasts on certain things. So let me see if I can find it. Where is it here? Okay, so it's 2nd level enchantment. That's the key there. Cast a spell of the Enchantment School using a spell slot of 2nd level or higher. So there are not that many. So your options as a cleric are Calm Emotions, Hold Person, Zone of Truth, Compulsion, Gaius, and Dominate Person. And I believe the Dominate Person, again, and Dominate Person and Compulsion are ones you get from the Order Domain. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 total spells. So only if you cast these 6 spells, because again, they got to be... although it doesn't say, when you cast a spell of the Enchantment School of 2nd level or higher, it doesn't specify a cleric spell. So if you're some weird multi-class where you're going to get other enchantment spells, although there aren't many enchantment spells in general, but if you're a wizard, cleric, multi-class, perhaps you can build on this, potentially. But, again, whatever spell slot, you have to use a 2nd level, and you can get 1 slot lower. So... Again, I think probably one of the biggest uses of this that'll come up the most often is probably Hold Person. Hold Person is a pretty powerful spell in general, and you can cast a 2nd level Hold Person and get a 1st level slot back, or upscale that and get other slots back, depending on how you want to work it. So it has some use, but your spells that are limited to what you can cast, so you have to think about it. But again, it adds a little bit of extra depth to your character, something else to think about. 8th level, we have Divine Strike. We've seen this ability before on countless clerics. When you hit once per turn with a weapon attack, you can cause the attack to deal extra damage to the target, a d8 force damage, and at 14 that goes up to 2d8 force damage. I don't believe we've ever seen force damage in a Divine Strike ability, so that's very interesting. And again, force damage is never, if at all, resisted, so that's always great. And then at 17, you get Order's Wrath. If you deal your Divine Strike damage to a creature, so again, from hitting with a weapon attack, that creature takes an extra 2d8 force damage the first time each turn that an ally of yours hits with a weapon attack. This benefit lasts until the start of your next turn. So it does so you have to first hit with your Divine Strike ability, as we said. Then, if you deal that damage, the creature takes an extra 2d8 force damage next time, the first time, so only the very first time, each turn that an ally of yours hits with a weapon attack. So the key part, first I read that, oh, the first time. Okay, once. Read that again. The first time each turn that an ally of yours hits it with a weapon attack. So first of all, that means if you're going first in the initiative order and every one of your allies is coming after you, the first time, and this lasts until the start of your next turn. So basically, no matter where your allies are in the initiative, they're all going to get this extra 2d8 force damage. And I will remind you again that a reaction takes place on a different turn. Or, I guess not. It's not a different turn, it's just... Let's think about this. So the first time each turn that an ally of yours hits... Yeah, okay, so you could, again, do that example with the healing word. Hit somebody as your action, Divine Strike. Now, you cast Healing Word, hit an ally. They now, because this is technically still your turn, the reaction, they can do an extra 2d8 force damage this turn, your turn, by this. Then if their turn is next, that is a new turn and deal an extra 2d8 force damage. So this syncs, yet again, talking about my thought process of synergizing abilities. But think about that. If you have a party of 4, that is an extra, let's see, it'll probably be you. We're not going to count you because you're already dealing your extra damage. But that's an extra 68 force damage. And again, these are dice. So if they crit, that adds extra damage to it as well. So very powerful ability. I'm a big fan. Yeah, that's the Order Domain Cleric. I'm very curious to see what you guys think. Would you allow this at your table as it is? Order's Wrath seems very powerful. It is your capstone cleric ability, which, you know, I think if you think about some of the other cleric abilities out there, but like a Tempest Cleric is fly. So they can just fly, which is a powerful ability to have all the time, but it is as powerful as extra damage. And again, if your party size increases, this number only increases. I think about an Arcana Cleric, though. They do get extra wizard spells, which is powerful as well, added to their spells. So it's hard to say where this actually ends up landing, but I think this is quite powerful. I do like it. I do like the class overall. I liked seeing this is actually, this Order's Dominion is very similar to the Enchantment Wizard ability as well. So I do like that, which could be a really wonky if you were a wizard cleric multi-class with multiple levels of in each of these to get this. I think that you could potentially get 2 slots back, activating both abilities if you cast an enchantment spell. So that's something to think about as well. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will, I'll see you next time.